everyone to the new members session. Thank you for making time. I think we're spanning many time zones here, including our special guest from Germany. So thank you again for making time in the evening. We will do introductions in a little bit. I think I'm going to start with just a very short slide deck summarizing the ORS, our goals with getting you integrated into the society. And then we're going to hand it off to our special guest, Dr. Hafna Lunza, who's going to talk about her really diverse journey through the ORS and the massive network she's built. And then we'll go around the room and we'll introduce. So if you're comfortable turning on your camera, we'd love to see you. And then we're going to leave as much time as possible to have a discussion and hear from you and ask you some questions. So this slide deck is going to be very brief and informal. Please stop me at any time. So let me dive right in here. Okay, I hope everyone can see that well. Great. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you as members of the ORS. My name is Tristan Matz. I'm at the University of Michigan, and I'm an assistant professor. I've been an ORS member since 2009, attending the annual meeting almost every year, including the remote ones. ORS has been my primary academic community, and I'm here in my capacity as a member of the ORS membership committee. So we're in charge of fielding all these new members, in addition to keeping our eye on our current membership. My co-committee member for this subcommittee is also on the call, Rebecca Irwin. She's from Cornell, and she's still a trainee, and it's wonderful. We have on all of our committees, we have really all of the levels of academia represented. So if you have questions for other members, you can direct us at her. So a brief overview again. It's gonna be a real short slide deck. I put the membership committee roster here on the side. We also have the chair of the membership committee, Adam Abraham, on the call, and several members of the ORS staff, in case you have questions for the ORS organization per se. Then we'll hear from our special guest from Ulm, Germany, Dr. Melanie Hafner-Lunza. And then again, we'll open the floor for a discussion since we only have 1 hour. So ORS is really a massively diverse and a very unique community of musculoskeletal scientists. We're approaching 4,000 members across 48 countries, which is really astonishing. And probably what the society is most proud of is the
Mr.
diverse
Chair,
background of
you had
all
lunch?
I'm sorry? The diverse background of our scientists.
Some previous the blog that I injected with
Nikita,
mixture of the cells.
please? Thank you.
I'm
So
muted,
we,
right?
the primary aspect of the community is basic scientists and orthopedic clinicians, but we also have many veterinarians and surgical trainees. So it's really a wonderfully diverse community, again, spanning all international corners. The mission of the ORS is to advance musculoskeletal research, of course, and the vision that I hope we can achieve by the time I retire is a world without musculoskeletal limitations and all of the comorbidities and sequelae of the widespread musculoskeletal conditions. Very clear core values that I think you will feel being a member, especially being at the meeting, that there is really this wonderful feedback loop between partnership, advocacy, diversity. Collaboration is everywhere. It's an incredibly inclusive community, scientifically speaking. I've never felt any sort of aspect of competition or exclusion based on scientific interests. And of course, everybody is constantly pushing for innovation, especially given a strong translational focus of this community, since we have lots of engineers and clinicians interested in novel treatments. So why join the ORS? You obviously already have, so you're probably aware of this, but first and foremost, it really is a community to foster your career. It is a process of continuing education and career development and self-development. So there are multiple resources available online at the annual meeting via the journals that I'll summarize in a little bit. There's lots of opportunities to get recognition, and these are not just resume building things like an award with a fancy name, but they really are a way to connect you to the community. They are a way to connect you to the other people that have gotten that award before, and importantly, be part of a legacy, because all of the awards really have a strong legacy. We really all, once we're integrated in the ORS, we all love being part of the community, and that means getting involved. I'm here on a volunteer basis. All of my scientific colleagues are as well, because we really see the benefit and we want to pass that on. So really everybody who's gotten embedded is interested in participating at aspects in the annual meeting, at the journals, or in venues like this. So the primary journal of the Orthopedic Research Society is the Journal of Orthopedic Research. I actually meant to find when the first publication date was. Maybe somebody can jump in with that, but it is a rather old journal. It's one of the oldest orthopedic journals, and it spans all disciplines of musculoskeletal orthopedic science, from really hardcore mechanism, cell and molecular biology, all the way through to novel treatments, therapeutics, clinical studies. And really it is the home for anything orthopedic related. It is widely read, it is widely accessible. A few years ago, the ORS also launched a sister journal called JOR Spine, given the very, very large spine research community. And this spans all aspects of either vertebral bone biology, intervertebral disc biology, now the emerging field of pain studies in the orthopedic community. So this is a special platform for spine interested folks, and it's rapidly increasing in volume and readership. So I thought I'd briefly summarize the membership benefits. The journals are a pragmatic benefit. You get the annual subscription to the ORS journals. You get discounts to the publication charges at JOR Spine, and can submit to JOR, the parent journal, at no cost. You have access to multiple online resources, including the Career Center and the Learn ORS platform, which is of particular interest to clinicians preparing, for instance, to the in-training exams that clinicians have to take. Of course, there are funding opportunities, and these have a strong focus on young scientists. I've been fortunate enough to receive one of these grants myself, and it was able to spur and start a new collaboration with an external partner. And it was really absolutely instrumental in allowing us to undertake a pilot experiment that then I'm happy to report turned into large-scale funding. So the ORS really recognizes that investing into young investigators, and maybe young's the wrong word, new investigators, early stage investigators, via grants, fellowships, and especially travel grants to allow folks to come to the annual meeting, where really the primary networking happens. So again, we talk about the annual meeting a lot because everything happens there, but it's not just that. There are smaller scale workshops, like for instance, the workshop that is in Utah annually, which is wonderful. It's more of a symposium style, very intimate, rather than thousands of people at a meeting. There are online events every month. So lots of way to interface with other conferences and other societies as well. And I want to emphasize that, according to my opinion, the primary driver of your career success is networking. And I really, my primary network has been the ORS, and I can trace all of my successes back to some aspect of the ORS network. So here's a short summary of the virtual courses that we have available. There are virtual scientific sessions. These are all very well distributed via the weekly emails that we get, and they're really easy to attend. They're all free of charge, and it's a wonderful way to meet other people, to interface again with other societies. And then importantly, I want to emphasize the Career Center. This is a place where academic institutions look for candidates, and vice versa. It's a great way to reach an academic institution and industry partners as well. We all unite around citizenship and service, again, because we recognize that the ORS has done so much for our careers. So there's many wonderful opportunities for impactful service and citizenship. So for instance, I'm here in my capacity as a member of the membership committee. I get to meet the new members. I've had a chance to then set up meetings with new members at the annual meeting, which is a great way to connect dots. There are wonderful outreach programs. For instance, prior to the annual meeting, wherever the annual meeting is held, there is an one-day outreach program at a local high school where we excite especially underrepresented minorities to enter a career in STEM. And these are wonderful things where you can reach the next generation of scientists. Scientific review is a really pragmatic way. It's a great way to stay in tune with really the cutting edge science that's happening in our field. Of course, it's important to be a scientific reviewer if you're in academia, and grants and annual meeting abstracts are at a lower volume, but nonetheless also really important. The ORS is a wide-reaching umbrella across multiple musculoskeletal subdisciplines, and those are broken down into sections. So these are smaller, intimate communities of like-minded people. For instance, we have the ISFR, the International Section of Fracture Repair, meniscus section, a implant-oriented section that is well represented by industry individuals as well, a very large spine section, a very large preclinical animal model section, which is my primary community. The tendon section is relatively younger, but growing rapidly. And now, as of last year, I believe, or 2 years ago, the strategies in clinical research, given also the strong growth in the clinicians in the ORS. So the sections meet at the annual meeting in a smaller venue, but there's lots of other opportunities that the sections provide. So first and foremost, again, more networking and collaboration with really your specialized community that feeds forward to career and leadership development. And all of the subsections have their own awards and their own committees as well. So it really is a wonderful way to get really ingrained in your exact field within the musculoskeletal science. So that was a super brief intro. Please feel free to ask me questions later. I think it's best now to hand it off to our special guest, Dr. Melanie Hafner-Lunzer. I thought I would list all of her titles here, and I'll read them in German here. I don't know how you get this many titles in Germany. Außerplanmäßiger Professor Dr. Rerum Naturalium, which goes to graduates in physics, chemistry, biology, geology, computer science, pharmacy, psychology, and other natural sciences. And she also has a Master of Science. So this is how Germans say PhD, as always, in a long way. I can make that joke because I'm German as well. Melanie is at the very well-known in our field Institute of Orthopedic Research and Biomechanics at the University of Ulm in southern Germany, just an hour away from the beautiful Alps. And her research topics are in the molecular mechanisms of fracture healing and bone homeostasis. And she's recently had some very exciting work in osteoimmunology. This is her research building. And as you can see there, a pedicle screw is going right through the building. So it's one of the most unique buildings in the world, I think. And it's wonderful because everybody will see that this is an orthopedic building. And I didn't really believe that that's there. So Melanie kindly invited me for a seminar. And indeed, there is the screw. I had a wonderful time visiting them. They have a really diverse group of researchers doing cutting edge work. So with that, Melanie, I'm going to stop sharing. And the floor is yours. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much for the great introduction here and also for the invitation. It's a pleasure for me to be here and tell you a bit about myself. And this is where I want to start. So I will tell you a bit more about myself and my career path and how I came to ORS and how ORS was able to help me to get where I am at the moment. So I studied molecular medicine in Ulm, Germany. And as Tristan said, it's in the southern part of Germany, 2 hours away from Munich, which most of you might know. But it's a really beautiful city. And it's not too far away also from my city where I was born, which is Augsburg, which is also just 1 hour away. So I went to Ulm to study molecular medicine. I did my bachelor, and this is even one more title to Tristan, because I have, of course, also the Bachelor of Science. And then, of course, I did my master's in molecular medicine, also at Ulm University. And when it came to doing a PhD, I decided to stay as well in Ulm, because I was always interested in bone research. And as Tristan mentioned, we have this famous Institute of Orthopedic Research and Biomechanics at Ulm University. So I applied for a PhD there, and I started my PhD thesis in 2011. And I finished my PhD in 2015. And even after that, I still decided to stay there. So I did postdoc there. And then I got the habilitation, which is like a special German thing. And then I got the professorship in 2022. So you could see my path was quite linear, and I was always in Ulm. And this can have benefits. For example, my work could just continue. I did not have to adapt to a different lab environment or whatever. But of course, it has also drawbacks. And one drawback is that I really have to do networking actively, because if you always have been just in the same place, you really need to build your network through other events. And I will come to that later. ORS is also, for me, one of the most important networking events. But I will start with my ORS journey. So I attended the ORS annual meeting first time in 2014. And so even before I had my PhD, so during performing my PhD thesis, it was my first transatlantic meeting. And I was just overwhelmed by, you know, the mass of people, over 2,000 papers and so on. So that was really a lot. And I really enjoyed the meeting a lot. I'm sorry, I will be right back. My child is in the background and I need to switch her the new TV show. I'm sorry, I will be right back in 30 seconds.
That's multitasking right there.
So I'm right back. And the interesting thing was that in the same year, also 2014, I attended another international meeting. And this was a meeting in New York from the International Society for Factory Repair. And this is important because the International Society for Factory Repair joined later the ORS as a section. And this was the first time I got in contact with the ISFR. And they do a biannual meeting. So every 2 years they have a meeting. And in 2016, I attended again the biannual meeting of the ISFR, which was in Munich by that time, so in Germany. And at that meeting, the ISFR decided that they want to join the ORS as a section. And Tristan already mentioned the sections, and I am very much a fan of these sections, and I'm very much involved into the ISFR, and I will tell you a bit more about that. So I was right there from the beginning when the ISFR joined the ORS as a section. And I joined a committee. I joined the communication committee right in the beginning because, as Tristan mentioned, networking is very important, and you can get to know much more people, not only by attending meetings, but also by being active in the society. And one way to be active in a society is to apply for a position. And I started in a committee, and I got to know so many nice people during my work in that committee. And then, you know, I made my path through the ISFR. So I think after communication committee, I got the position of member at large, which is always a good position as an international person because you can try to shape and also try to get more insights into a society. And then I was secretary for 2 years. And at the moment, I am a research and education chair of the ISFR. And so I'm really involved for many, many years in the international section for factory repair. And the good thing is that we are around, I think, 200 members or something like that. So it's a really great community with peers. They all have the same interest. So our interest is in trauma, factory repair, bone biology. And when you are active in such a great environment, the people get to know you and you get to know the people. And this has helped me a lot in shaping my career. For example, I was once at an ORS annual meeting and I met Ted Miklau, who is the head of the Orthopedic Trauma Institute in San Francisco. And we got to know each other by ORS. And I asked him if it would be possible for me, for example, to do a research visit at his lab. Because as I told you, I have always been just to Ulm and I just wanted to get to know other places. And also like how research is done in the US, because it's really different. Germany and US is completely different. So I got the possibility from Ted Miklau to join his lab for several months, and I was there. And this was really helpful for my career because we published a lot of stuff together and we established a new mouse model together and so on. And this would not have been possible without ORS because basically that was our connection. And I met so many other people through my journey in the ISFR, and some of them are, for example, editors and journals. And this is always helpful because then if you have a great paper, you can ask this person and say, hey, this is my new paper. Would it be of interest for your journal, for example? And I'm not I'm a quite naturally shy person. So when I'm at an annual meeting, it would be hard for me to just go and approach people, which I would hardly recommend, but it's not so easy for everyone. But when you are in a community and you are an active part, then you have Zoom meetings every month or every 2 months, and you really get to know this person and these people. And sometimes you even make friends. So not only colleagues, but you really can get nice friendships through this way. And because of that, I was really able to improve my network. And I would say because of ORS and of course also some other European societies, I really have a good network. And this network is especially great in view of that I always have been basically in one place. But that doesn't matter too much because I met so many people around the world through ORS, through ISFR and all of the other societies. So my recommendation for new members is to not only be member, which is nice, but ORS can be more. So if you are active in the society, if you apply for committee work, that could really be of great help for your career, to have your network, to get to know new people, to get new opportunities, job opportunities, and so on. So that is really what I can recommend when I look back at my past and how ORS was able to help me to get in the position where I am at the moment. And that's basically my story.
Great, wonderful, beautiful summary and strong support for networking and being active. That's excellent. Why don't we take this opportunity to go around the room, introduce the rest of the group, especially our new members, but I think we'll do everybody. I'll just go in order what I see here. Rebecca already introduced you, but go ahead and say a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Rebecca. I'm a postdoc at Cornell University in the biomedical engineering department. I went to my first ORS annual meeting, I think in 2017. And the big parts that have made an impact on my career have been being a part of the meniscus section. So we've talked a little bit about the sections, but I'm the education chair of the meniscus section. And then I also was the recipient of the ORS Stryker Women's Fellowship. So that's a fellowship for postdocs where you're listed as the PI on that grant. And it was also a way for me to get some industry networks and collaboration too. So lots of different opportunities. And I'm happy to chat more about that if anyone has any questions.
Wonderful. Timothy, you're next on my list here.
Thanks. Hi, my name's Tim. I'm a PhD student at the University of Iowa. I am going to the ORS tendon section meeting coming up here almost in a few weeks, I guess now. It's really sneaking up, but that's kind of what finally got me to become a member of the ORS, and so I'm trying to take advantage of it while I can.
Great, welcome. That's wonderful. Ruhi.
Hi guys, my name is Ruhi Ali, and I am the membership specialist at ORS, and I work with all the sections. I solicit all activities involved with the sections and the society. And warm welcome to all the new members. I'm glad to have you guys and looking forward to working with everyone.
Great. Sharon Smith-Terry is the CEO and Executive Director of ORS, so I'll introduce her like that, but go ahead, Sharon.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for that introduction. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And Melanie, thank you for that lovely presentation. It's very interesting to hear your journey in ORS. Thank you for being here. And thank all of you for being here. And the staff, we're here to help you with anything you need. Thank you.
Steve.
Well, I'm an old orthopedic surgeon, ski doctor from Lake Tahoe, but young PhD scientist and professor of sports medicine in Madrid, Spain. And I've got a PhD in cartilage regeneration. And the only way that I can keep learning is to keep learning from you kids. And so it turns out to be that it's a perfect marriage. You kids need some clinicians for some guidance and friends. And I need your external, your brains as my external brain, and for people to go to and to teach me. So it's a wonderful society, and hopefully to get more clinicians involved. But I will tell you that at the beginning of my career, actually, when I finished my training in New England Medical Center at Tufts University in Boston, I was given as a chief resident an award for least likely to ever do a basic science project. And so I've now become an academician. So you never know where you're going to go, and you never know where your interest in science will take you.
Wonderful. I hope you threw that back in their face after you got the PhD.
Well,
Nikita's next.
the funny thing is next Friday, May 9th, whenever the heck that is, I'm doing orthopedic grand rounds at New England Medical Center Tufts, returning my alumni on anterior cruciate ligament repair, the current status. And we just wrote a recent article that was published in the International Knee Journal on our ACL repairs that we've done. But I have a picture of me when I was a resident and a picture of me receiving the award for least likely to ever do a basic science project. So yes, I will throw it back in their face, but
That's
I
great.
wanted to be a ski doctor, and that's what I trained to do.
That's great. Wonderful. Thank you for joining, Steve. Nikita is next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nikita Halapetti, and I am the Data and Program Specialist at ORS. And one of the things that I do is work with the membership committee of ORS to ensure that our members have great experiences. So I want to just welcome all the new members, and I'm going to go ahead and put our email in the chat. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and email us at any time, and we'll be happy to help.
Birgitta.
Yeah, hello, I'm Birgitta Stolze. I'm a second guest from Germany today. And yeah, my background is biologist, but I have founded a startup company some years ago as a spin-off of the Laser Center Hanover. And our topic is laser-based histology. Means we have developed very special methods to perform hard tissue histology, to improve this field. And we have first interest from US groups. And yes, I applied for membership and also for membership in the preclinical section and the implant section to get more contacts to this research field in USA.
Wonderful. Very happy to have you. Mohammed.
So, hello guys, this is Mohammed Tantawi. Actually, I'm working at the postdoc in College of Medicine, Penn State University. And actually, I consider to be the third guy that he has been in Germany, actually, because I got my PhD from Medical School of Hanover in Germany. This was actually in 2015. And then after attending like 1 year at the postdoc there, actually, I turned to my home institute in Egypt to work as the assistant professor, and I got a grant working with osteoporosis and microRNA, and then finally I got this offer to work at the postdoc. So I have been here since almost 1 year, and actually I'm much looking forward to be involved more in the ORS activity. Thank you.
Wonderful. That sounds great. Kanan.
Hi, I'm Kanan Govindaraj. I'm a postdoc Marie Curie Fellow at the Harvard Medical School. I did my PhD in osteoarthritis in the Netherlands at the University of Twente. Now I'm involved in developing some biomaterial-based therapies for the osteoarthritis. So I just noticed ORS having a lot of networking and grant opportunities. So then I thought, okay, let's go and meet people there. So that's why I signed up. Nice to meet you guys.
Great decision. Wonderful. Adam, I think you're here. You want to briefly say hi?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Adam Abraham. I'm at the University of Michigan as well. I'm the chair of the membership committee, and I think my history is, I think my first meeting was maybe 2008, 2009 with the ORS. So I've been a long time attendant of the annual meeting, served on the membership committee, and it's been really a great opportunity to meet new people and again, build that network across the society, pitch in and help out. And it's been really rewarding to work with everyone on this committee. So, and it's great to meet everyone here.
Wonderful. Thanks, Adam. Initials as first name, but last name Couliard.
Can you listen?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, basically, I'm veterinarian. Currently, I'm living in China from the Huazhong Agriculture University. So I'm here for postdoc. One of my colleague is also in University of Kentucky who recommended me to join this society. So I just searched and I found this that is very interesting. And if you want to make some kind of networking or you want to make some friends, colleagues, so I also thought it's so good here. So I also got the position in University of Kentucky, maybe in coming months, maybe 2 or 3, I will also be there. So nice to meet you, everyone. So it's so late here. Actually, I was just thinking I should be here or not, but it's very late here. So because I was so exciting to join this meeting, so I'm just here.
Wow, thanks for very late means very early. It's 1:30 or 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, right.
Amazing. Thank you for joining. What a wonderful journey you've had. Great. Rachel's next.
Hi, Rachel at the University of Florida. I'm a junior professor, assistant professor, and I primarily work with viral vectors and gene therapy to treat orthopedic disorders. So I use large animal models like horses and small animal models as well to look at arthritis. We do some achondroplasia stuff, and I don't know. But I'm looking forward to getting involved as well. Sounds like a great program.
Are you in Kyle Allen's proximity?
Yeah, he's down the hall.
Perfect. Great. Good partner to have.
Yeah.
Okay, on the list, Kimberly next. You're still muted, Kimberly.
Thank you. Kimberly Jones at Night Campus at University of Oregon. I'm a lab manager / research scientist in the Goldberg lab here. This is my first ORS meeting. This has been a new field for me. My background, my PhD was in molecular biology with other background in protein biochemistry. So coming into a musculoskeletal regenerative engineering lab has been a little bit of a stretch, but has been really interesting to kind of see my path through it, as well as kind of getting to a good point before going to the meeting to be able to kind of tie everything together.
Wonderful. Great to have you in the field. You're in one of the musculoskeletal powerhouses, and Dr. Goldberg is a Michigan alumnus, and that's a sign of a Michigan person to always remind people when they're from Michigan. All right, next on the list is Ling Ling.
Oh, hey, hello, I'm Ling Ling. I'm from Welcomeville. I'm a postdoc now. Currently I'm working on the tendon ligament stem cell. Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Great, thank you for joining. And then last is initials HS.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hua Shen. Somehow I have a little bit issue with my connection. So I'm assistant professor at Washington University. I'm also the member of the membership committee. I'm the member of the ORS since I think 2012, and has been over years. It has been very awarding experience as a member of the ORS. I'm also the member of the attendance sections. And so, I'm happy to share my experience, and if you have any questions about the membership.
Great, great to have you. So I kept a tally. I like to do this at these sessions to reflect the incredible diversity here. So we've got 3 postdocs, 1 industry, including the ORS committee members, 5 PIs, 1 veterinary postdoc, and 1 senior staff or lab manager. So a perfect sample of exactly what the ORS is like, especially having an industry representative here. So really great to have you guys all join. We have a solid 23 minutes left. I thought we'd open the floor, first of all, to field questions from the new members. And if there aren't any, I'm ready with some icebreakers. I see you guys thinking. Great. So who, perhaps Mohammed, maybe I heard, are you a trained clinician?
Well, no, actually, I'm a biomedical scientist, I would say.
Okay.
I have been trained as a biochemist. Then I got my PhD in infection immunology field, like studying the host response to the viral infection, which is a sort also of kind of molecular biology or any biology field, immunology field. And then I joined here the lab to also study the intersection between the immune cells and the bone.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Yeah, the reason I ask is I think what's really strongly represented in our international members is clinicians from the Middle East, clinicians from Asia who come do postdocs in the US, and then very frequently those folks will turn into PIs in the US or in Europe. Of course, more frequently is that they return and start their labs as clinician scientists. So that's why I asked. We've had one or two of those from either the Middle East or Asia in previous sessions like this before. Any other, Steve, you told us you're a clinician. Any other trained clinicians that hopped over to basic science or are doing both?
Yeah. So yeah, I trained as a physical therapist and practiced for a few years prior to coming back and starting my PhD. So
Oh, that's great. So, do you intend to merge those things again?
yeah, we'll see what the future entails. But yeah, our lab does a lot of clinical and some translational work. And so I'll likely live in that world. But whether I formally work as a clinician, we'll see what happens.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really strong aspect of the orthopedic community is the non-surgical clinicians, and is a great venue for the non-surgical primary clinicians to interface with the orthopedic surgeons. Great. Do you intend to do primarily basic science work, or do you intend to go back to more translational clinical aspects?
Probably more translational and clinical aspects. We do a little bit of basic in humans currently, and so that's kind of how I'm here. And we'll see where we go. Still very early. I'm in the middle of my second year, so I got a lot of time to figure it out, or at least I'm told that.
Great. Wow, that sounds wonderful. Melanie, I think I'll put you on the spot a little bit. If you can think about the overwhelming nature of your first annual meeting experience, I certainly remember mine. Tips for what to do at the annual meeting rather than just running around from session to session and filling your notebook with scientific facts from 7-minute talks.
Yeah, that's really a good question. So what I recognize, maybe not during my first meeting, but in the meetings afterwards, that the most important part is not only the science sessions or the posters, but the evenings. So it's, I think one of the most important things is to get connections to people, that you can meet them in the evening, to go to a bar together, to a restaurant and so on, because this is the place where the real networking is done, right? And it's not so easy if you do not know anyone. And one thing I can recommend is use social media beforehand. In the past, it was Twitter. At the moment, not so much maybe, but LinkedIn is also a good opportunity. And so you can try to connect with people going to the ORS annual meeting before the meeting. And then you can try to meet them and build up your network.
That's great. And indeed, we met in the middle of the night or early in the morning on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, getting beignets together and grabbing one more beverage. Yes, that's exactly how our friendship started.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let me, I'm going to start putting the new members on the spot here. I'm just going to go randomly. So Rachel, you just started your lab. What other scientific communities have you been in, and how do you see that merging with the ORS?
Sure. Yeah, I'm part of the ASGCT, American Society of Gene and Cell Therapy. Because I do, like I said, a lot of like AAV viral vector stuff. But I apply it to orthopedics. So, I mean, obviously all my work is in orthopedics, so I feel like it's a perfect fit. And that meeting is really big, and I have a feeling this is a little bit smaller, which will be nicer. They have like, it's a little overwhelming. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
one huge benefit you'll have at the meeting is finding trainees.
Yes.
The future postdoc poster session is probably one of the hottest sessions. Very well trafficked because I think everybody feels somewhat of a postdoc shortage in the field. So it's actually been really interesting seeing, you know, people line up, PIs line up to talk to the future postdocs at the posters, especially if you're in the community, you know, watching, for instance, Rebecca's talks over the years, and then she has our first future postdoc poster session. And one of my trainees just did that last year and said, wow, that was the busiest I've ever been. It felt like I was already being recruited. So that's a huge benefit of this community, is finding trainees.
That's nice to know. Yeah. And collaborators too, you know, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Field and always good.
So Kimberly, you're going to be de facto running one of the biggest labs in the nation with probably one of the busiest people in the nation. What do you think? What do you think you can leverage in this community?
Oh, that is a hard question. I have appreciated the level of connection of this community compared to previous kind of scientific groups that I've been in, where it seems that everybody seems to know each other or of each other, even though there are so many. And I really appreciate that and the level of interconnected research that is happening.
I love that. And I really want to echo that. I started my career, grew up in this community, and now that I've gotten into some other communities, I really feel more competition in those, and maybe, for lack of a better term, a little bit of scientific secrecy. You know, I'm trying to phrase that neutrally, but in our community, everyone is wide open. Everyone knows each other, despite it being 3,900 members. I feel like everybody is, you know, you're walking down the hall at the big meeting and everybody's hugging one another. And that really, I think, resonates with the trainees a ton, to bring them into an environment where they immediately feel welcomed. And they immediately know that it is an open dialogue, and you don't have to worry about saying the absolute perfect thing every time you're at the microphone, that every question is welcomed. So I love that you already sense that. It's absolutely true. Rebecca, maybe you can add some details there, since you've done your training in this community.
Yeah, there were a couple times at this past meeting where we ran into some people and had some quick hugs, which is nice. So coming over the years, it's been really nice to form friendships that you kind of get to see people once at the meeting. But I think that speaks to how welcoming the community is at all levels. So I started as a second-year PhD student when I began coming, so it was easy to form those bonds with other PhD students. But now that's kind of grown into people who are now postdocs, as I'm a postdoc, and I have better ties with people that are also early stage faculty. So it's been fun to grow with the community, and at all levels, people have been very welcoming, which has been really nice.
And how have you approached people? Have you also approached people via email, for instance, before the meeting, or how do you build your network?
My PhD advisor has this really good strategy before the meeting that he asks all his trainees, who do you want to come to your poster? Who do you want to come to your talk? So he would reach out to at least 3 people. So you kind of have those people you knew you were going to connect with. And I've kind of adopted that and tried to have some informal planned meetings with some people before the meeting, and then also looking at people at their posters, and then being at the meniscus section, you kind of get the whole room of meniscus researchers together. So going up and talking to people. So there's some nice opportunities at the meeting where there's smaller clusters of people that you can also kind of give yourself a cold introduction to also.
I love that. It's not easy, right? Part of this job is being a salesperson for your own science. So you have to put yourself out there. You have to say, please come to my poster.
Yeah.
And you hope half those people show up. So I commend you for doing that. It's a wonderful strategy. Please feel free to jump in. I'm going to keep going around the room. I'd love to hear more about Birgitta's company and her goals with getting in this community. It sounds like there's some innovative technologies that allow us to do more maybe better histology. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yes, I hope better histology, and we have already shown, yes. I think few or a lot of you know that heart tissue histology is very challenging because of the heart tissue and of the implants. And we have developed a laser system, a laser technology, so that we can prepare the thin sections with the laser. And so we can work with calcified tissue, even if we are in large animal models, and can do nearly serious sections of heart tissue. That is one, and also of implanted tissue. And okay, the technology has some more advantages that you can use for isolation of native tissue, but the standard work is really sample preparation and section preparation of heart tissue and implanted tissue. And we have developed a lot of, or adapted all the classical stainings for resin histology, because we use resin embedded tissue because otherwise it's so brittle. And yeah, and that is what we have developed here in Hanover in Germany. And we have first contacts in USA, and also have placed a machine to the bone healing lab in Iowa. And yeah, and I make notice of this community, and some people recommended it to me. So I applied for membership and was accepted. And we plan, okay, I plan to come to the next meeting in February. And we also try to apply for a workshop there together with Douglas Fredericks from Iowa. So that is the, yeah. And I'm not sure if a lot of people from USA know about the technology, and so that is my aim, because that will improve and help the community also to accelerate the preclinical work. Better. That's our aim. And we are a very small company, but yeah, not very industrial, more research driven, yeah.
That's great. I heard about you guys from somebody, so it's wonderful to now put a face to the name. And this is a big need. The amount of resources that have been wasted from shattered sections that are unusable in mineralized tissue processing. So I look forward to seeing that development. And I'm sure you're also involved in the ASBMR, but between these two societies, you're basically covering every bone lab in the country here, and likely all of Europe as well, as you know. That's great. Well, I look forward to it. The workshop's a wonderful opportunity. Maybe one of the ORS members can jump in. Are there current grant partnership opportunities between industry entities and academic entities that are available for Birgitta?
We can take a look at that. What we have right now, the most recent fellowship we have is, and it's not necessarily with industry, but it's with Bethel out of Philadelphia for an ORS fellowship grant and Bethel fellowship grant. Unfortunately, that just closed right now, but certainly that's something we're looking at offering every year. That's new, so that's coming up. But as far as industry is concerned, that's something that we're going to be looking more closely with in the next 2 years to come.
Great.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Thank you. Yeah.
One question I always love to ask, I think we have 3 or 4 postdocs, maybe one of them just departed, industry versus academia. And ORS is the ideal place for either trajectory. So maybe we can hear briefly from the postdocs about future plans. Yeah, Mohammed.
Well, just actually, I do have one question about, collaboration between Germany and USA, and I don't know whether Melanie might know something like this. If there any kind of grants or funding agency that can support, like, mutual collaboration between both sides from Germany and USA. If I'm interested to collaborate with the people from Germany, does ORS also might support this or not?
So what I can really recommend is to take a look at the academic exchange program, and there is one from ISFR, and you are working on Bonn, right? So that would be wonderful. So if you're also a member of the ISFR, you can apply for that. You can apply for the academic exchange, and this is a wonderful opportunity. If you search for partnership, transatlantic partnership, you can apply for that. At the moment, it's only $5,000, but we want to increase it to 10,000. And there is also a program from the ORS Main Society where you can apply for a project, and you can also use that. And of course, if you are in Germany, you can use the DAAD program. And there might also be some DFG funded grants to have the connection between Germany and the US.
I have exactly what you need in my email. I happened to be on the train from Philadelphia to New York last year, and my neighbor on the train was a program officer for a large European granting agency specifically for this. European Commission something. I'm looking in my email, and I'm going to follow up with you.
Yes, please.
Maybe Rebecca, I'll give the floor to you for the last 5 minutes so that I can find this info for Mohammed, because it's exactly what he needs.
Yeah, of course. Does anyone else have any other questions about the ORS or anything that Tristan and Melanie have talked about so far? I can follow up with Tristan's previous question about the academia versus industry. And currently I'm on the academic route. So I had a couple faculty interviews this past cycle, and depending on how those turn out, I'll either be going that way or potentially on the job market again this fall. But kind of what Tristan had talked about, there's a future faculty session at the ORS. So this past year, I was able to kind of put together a poster of my training experience and also my research vision and talk with people who are either hiring this cycle or who are planning to hire this coming cycle. So that was a really good opportunity for me to know who's planning to hire, what they're looking for, and also kind of talk face to face with the people that are going to be chairing those searches. So kind of at all levels of my career stage, the ORS has been really helpful for networking and connecting with people.
Maybe I can add one thing which helped me a lot in the past. When you submit papers, you always need to suggest reviewers for a journal, right? And one tip for me is that you collect the names of people at ORS meeting who were at your poster or your talk and said, oh, you are doing great work. And then you can collect these names and suggest them as reviewers for your paper, and that really works.
Mohammed, I found it. It is the European Commission. I had it. So all you need to do is Google European Commission, EU funding and tenders portal. And then that is all of the available funding opportunities from the European Commission. And it's quite easy to see what the call for proposals are. And I was in the train with the director of this program, and he said we have in this database a large number of grants specifically intended for international collaboration. So it is a requirement in these grants that there are 2 international entities, meaning you're not competing against just the pool of researchers in the EU, you're only competing against folks with other international collaborations. So I think that's exactly what you're looking for.
That's true. Thank you so much, Tristan.
Absolutely.
Much appreciated.
Great. Well, we're 2 minutes to the hour, so last call for any other questions. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you guys, and I'm sure we sold the ORS to you. Obviously, you're already in the ORS, so we didn't need to do that, but we really want to emphasize that everybody is absolutely forthcoming and helpful, and we want to help. So we will, Nikita, I think we're able to email the slides and maybe our contact info to this group. In case you guys have any other follow-ups to any one of us, we're happy to field questions. We're happy to connect you guys. And of course, hope to see you at one of the in-person events soon. Sounds like Tim is going to the next in-person event. I won't be at the attending meeting, but at latest, I guess, next year. Where are we next year? Where's the annual meeting next year?
In Phoenix.
Phoenix, perfect.
And
Good.
we have an ISFI meeting in October in Montreal. And I also want to advertise this for the bone people here.
That'll be great. Okay, wonderful. Thank you guys so much for making time. Please don't hesitate to reach out and look forward to seeing you soon.
Just one more thing, the tendon meeting is next month at the Mayo Clinic. So just want to make sure that's on your radar screen as well, those of you who are interested in attending. Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.